Niecy's Food Journey, where I explore my DNA through food. Today, I'll be re-exploring my Polish ancestry. My grandfather was the son of Polish immigrants, and after he moved away from home, he'd always ask his mother to make his favorite dish, gołąbki, also known as stuffed cabbage rolls, whenever he'd come back to visit. Today, I'm recreating this dish, and here are the ingredients. Of course, you're going to need some cabbage. I also have tomato sauce and beef broth. I have an onion, garlic, and some butter. And this recipe calls for a lot of fresh parsley, but I didn't have any, so I had to use the dried. For the stuffing, I used ground beef and ground pork. Also, some rice. I'm going to start this recipe by adding my rice to my meat. Next, I'm going to add the onions and garlic, which were sautéed in butter. I also added a dash of Worcester sauce, followed by the parsley, and I seasoned with salt and pepper. I also decided to add an egg as a binder, and then I mixed everything together. Now my mixture is all ready, and you can see all that rice coming out. The rice is a very key component to this dish. Don't skip it. Now on to the cabbage. The first step is to remove the core. We'll also remove the ribs from each leaf. I found it best to start with the serrated knife. But let me tell you, that core was not easy at all for me to remove. But there it is. Now I'm going to start on my sauce. All I did was mix the beef broth with my tomato sauce. Some people prefer their sauces very thick, but I opted for a thinner sauce. Now we must soften these cabbage leaves. I'm going to do this by boiling the entire head of cabbage. I did this for about 5 minutes. Once the leaves are tender, they'll fall off quite easily. Remove as many leaves as you can and set aside until they cool. Here are my cabbage leaves. Now that tough rib needs to be removed. I just took a knife and sliced mine off like this. I just removed it entirely. The next step is to stuff your cabbage rolls. I find it easier to use an ice cream scoop to fill the rolls. This way, each roll gets the same amount of filling. I scooped the filling onto the open cabbage leaf. I found that 2 scoops was the perfect amount of filling for these cabbage rolls. And now it's time to roll them up. It's just like rolling up a burrito. You fold in your sides and you just keep rolling. And here it is, my first cabbage roll. Simply repeat until you are completely out of filling. Going back in, 2 scoops, and roll them up. I place them into a baking sheet. I have to admit, rolling them up was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that part. Here are my cabbage rolls. And now it's time to top it with the broth and tomato sauce mixture. And you want to make sure that each roll is sufficiently covered in the sauce. As you can see, I ended up with a good amount of cabbage rolls. Use as much sauce as you need to cover, and then you're going to take the remaining cabbage leaves and top your cabbage rolls with those. That looked to be a good amount right there for me. Now they're ready for the oven. I sealed it tightly with foil so they can steam and cook through. I also placed mine on a baking sheet just in case it leaked. These took about 90 minutes to cook all the way through in a 350-degree oven. And here they are. I did let them rest for about 15 minutes or so before I served them up. And dinner is served. This was my first time ever eating stuffed cabbage rolls, let alone making them. I served mine with some mashed potatoes and dill-seasoned sour cream. Here's my grandfather's favorite dish. It looked and smelled so delicious. But how did it taste? Well, they were absolutely amazing, I must tell you. And the sour cream with the dill added a whole new dimension to them. So please don't skip that part. This is a dish I'll definitely make again. It's comfort food at its finest. Don't take my word for any of this, though. Let's see what the littlest member of our family, Brady, thinks. I think he likes them. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe and hit that bell icon so you can join me on my future journeys.